Hey everybody, it is Mom's Wife of One. As you can see, I'm not in my usual area. I'm actually out of town with my babies celebrating the end of their spring break. But I realized I hadn't done my video yet. I was planning for the trip and things just kind of got away from me. But I'm here now, so even though the video is a couple days late, I hope you guys will still enjoy the review and recap of Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 14. And actually, I watched the episode a day late. And all of the feedback I saw online and from the groups that I follow, everyone just said, "Oh, this episode was so boring." And I definitely agree. So I'm not even going to look at my notes because I pretty much have an idea of what I watched it, but I kind of remember what took place. So basically, this is the episode where they're about 2 weeks away from decision day. And they have Dr. Pia come back, who was there, I guess, last season, I think was her first time, or the season before last. And she is the intimacy expert. So her job is to talk to them about where they are in their sex life, where they are when it comes to intimacy, and kind of guide them in the right direction. Couple problems with that. Number one, I actually like Dr. Pia. I think she says really good things, and I have no issue with her personally. I do have an issue with them bringing her in at the 11th hour, basically. We have less than 2 weeks now to get this thing going. I feel like, and I kind of had this epiphany when I was watching the episode, and it may be too much for us as the viewer, but I think it wouldn't hurt to have one expert visit or talk with the couples every week of filming. Not necessarily every day, obviously, but at least every week that they're actually filming the show, have at least one of the experts either talking to a couple on the phone or meeting with all the couples to help them with whatever. Having her come in when they're less than 2 weeks away, it seems like a moot point at this point, especially for almost all the couples. And it seems kind of weird to bring her in now. I don't really know how much help she can be when they still have so little time before making this massive decision. So I will say that when it comes to Nicole and Chris, it seems that they kind of benefited the most from meeting with Dr. P because Nicole got to get some of that therapy that she's been needing. And I think it is great that now that she's in the situation, she does understand how much hurt she's carried with her, how much baggage she's carried with her from past relationships. So it's good that she's at least understanding it. But I just wish that she had kind of gotten some of this counseling before getting married to Chris. I'm really hoping that because she's realizing this stuff, I'm hoping that she doesn't start second guessing whether she's whole enough to even be with him. I'm hoping that she allows herself to be with him, allows herself to be loved by him, and then in turn still seek out that counseling for her own mental health, as opposed to, wow, I'm just really messed up and I don't think I can be with you because I don't want to drag you down. No, girl, don't do that. Like, he's good for you. Let him be good for you. Let him help you with this journey, right? That's really all I can say about them. Oh, also, each couple got a box of goodies. I think we only really saw Shaq and Kirsten. Did they have goodies? Shaq and Kirsten, I think, had goodies. Nicole and Chris got a box of goodies, and so did Gina and Clint. So I did think it was interesting that Nicole and Chris are looking through the box of goodies, and she's like, maybe we can try this stuff out later, but right now, our sex life is fine. I'm comfortable with it, and I just rather focus just on me and my health. And he was like, okay, cool, no problem. So it's like, okay, that was a dud. That wasn't exciting. But I guess because intimacy isn't an issue they have, I guess I didn't really expect much with them. So I was like, okay, great. You guys are wonderful. Woohoo. And then we have Shaquille and Kirsten. Now, I've been giving Kirsten a lot of stuff the past few episodes. And this episode, all the comments I saw were all negative towards Shaquille. Basically saying he's a big baby. Why is he bringing up old stuff? He's constantly complaining. He just wants to be by himself. He don't really want no wife. All the stuff. And I think everybody's comments are valid. I don't really know how I feel about them as a couple anymore. I think that on paper, they have what it takes to be a solid couple because they both fulfill what they both said they wanted in a spouse. So I think just from that standpoint, okay, they're going to be good. They're going to make it. They're successful, whatever. But I think for Shaq, I think one of the things that bothers him the most is that a lot of revelations he's getting about Kirsten in terms of how she feels about their relationship comes up when they are sitting down with an expert. She's not saying these things to Shaquille, so he's being caught off guard. So of course it puts him in defensive mode. Oh, I can't do anything right. Woe is me. I can't measure up to her expectations. What am I going to do? Kind of thing. And so I understand from his perspective being annoyed by that and constantly feeling like you're falling short because you're thinking things are going one way, but then you get in front of the experts like, well, he could be more masculine. Like, it would be nice, but because my daddy. And again, with your father, if you are not letting Shaquille meet your freaking father stop comparing him to this man that he ain't never met. That's not fair. It's just not fair at all to him. And if you even have the expectation of, I want somebody who's quote unquote masculine, handy, does whatever, then tell this man that. Don't let him find out on camera in front of everybody else. Like, what are y'all talking about? It seems like she's a little happier that he's making more of an effort to spend time with her. But there's all this conversation about the travel he does for work. And I think some miscommunication between him saying he wanted her there to support him and her not going at the last minute or something. And he's basically in the point where he feels like he's not being supported from his wife, not being supported in his career, not being supported in his goals. He doesn't feel like he's getting that support from her. And granted, I know that Shaquille wears a couple different hats. How many other ways outside of going on a work trip, which isn't possible necessarily all the time for her to do because she still has her job and still has her things to do. But outside of her occasionally going on a work trip, what else is she supposed to do exactly? Is that the only way to support him? And I'm not asking to be whatever. I'm asking out of like genuine curiosity because I don't necessarily have an idea of everything he does. I don't know how much she can actually do for him. So I'm just curious, outside of going on a work trip, what else he expects of her and what else she can actually physically is capable of doing. So they're still pretty boring to watch. I mean, obviously their intimacy has gotten a little better. They're touching more, they're kissing more. But again, it was like, even Dr. Pia kind of looked like the question she was asking Kirsten, you can tell she was trying to get to the root of things because Kirsten sometimes has a habit of throwing something out there and then not having any evidence to back it up. And then it leaves everybody else floundering like, well, what do you mean? I don't get it. I don't understand. He's like, oh, well, you know, but I can't think of any examples. It's like, well, girl, keep your mouth shut. Don't say nothing then. Like, what are we doing? So they were boring. Gina, don't want to end on, yeah, we'll end with Gina and Clint. With Gina and Clint, they are going to be such good friends after this. They are not going to make it as a couple. Gina's uncomfortable talking about sex in front of someone that she has no interest in having sex with. And that's basically what she said. That's the gist of where they are. So they admitted to Dr. Pia, we have sexual needs outside of each other, but we don't communicate that with each other because we're fairly confident that that person is not going to fulfill those needs. And we don't want that person to fulfill those needs. So it's like, if you already know you have no intention of talking to Clint about what you need sexually, he has no intention. I'm assuming, I feel like Clint a lot of times is kind of going with the flow of what Gina has said. I don't think he always agrees with her. I firmly believe that Clint is trying a lot harder than Gina is. And if she gave him even an inkling that, hey, this could possibly work, or hey, I'm sort of getting interested, I feel like he would jump on that and kind of work hard to make that kind of go into a definite yes of her liking him, lusting after him, or whatever. But I feel like a lot of times she'll kind of say first what she thinks the situation is, and he'll just kind of go with it like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, me too. Like, I feel like you're a lot further along when it comes to sexual attraction and sensuality. I feel like he's a lot farther than she is. But I think it's also because he's open to the idea of that growing. I don't see her being open to it at all. But if that's the case, if you are firmly believe without a shadow of a doubt that you will not be having sex with this man, that nothing he can say or do will make you attracted to him, why are you still here? And she keeps saying, well, you know, he and I are not quitters. That's not a good enough reason to stick around, just not being quitters. This is not a competition between the two of you. Like, you're supposed to be here for the right reason. You're supposed to be here to actually see this all the way through, not through 8 weeks, but to actually see it through as an entire marriage for however long you both shall live. That's the point. And so her keeps saying, like, we're not quitters. Like, that just doesn't make it seem like you actually still want to be in a relationship. You just want to be seen as a quitter. And it's like, no, if you see that there's no hope for that growing, that particular area growing, then leave. I don't understand it. I think that's just such a cop-out answer. And it bothers me because you're basically wasting time. Yes, he seems cool. Yes, you seem cool. And again, you guys are seeing every day on paper how compatible you are, why you were matched with this person, what a great person the spouse is. I'm so glad you guys are coming to that conclusion, but nothing is happening beyond that. Again, great friends, but there's no passion there. And neither of you are willing to do anything to make that passion grow, to even entertain the idea that passion could happen. And it's like, no, that's not fair. And they got a box that had all, like, Dr. P basically told them, like, forget about the expectation of sex. Why don't you focus on touch, creating a mood. They had like a feather, a brush, and like this little massager. So they kind of like rubbed each other with these items. And it's basically like a friend conversation. Like, oh, how'd you like that? I feel like the feather better. Oh, you did? Yeah, I like the massage better. Who knew that a brush could feel like that? That was great. This was it. Now, mind you, this is touch. So yes, we need to figure out what things that touch us we like. They didn't say these things turn me on or I'm feeling tingly. It was like, oh, that was nice. Mind you, it's nice because the thing touching you is not your spouse. Neither of their hands actually touched each other. So it's like, even if you got used to a feather and you're like, oh, this really does it for me, this is still not your spouse's hand. The whole point, I assumed, was to get used to your spouse's touch. To have your spouse's touch be the thing that feels good, that makes you feel all tingly or whatever. And they did not touch each other. Oh, they had a more in-depth conversation about sex in terms of what some hard limits are and what kind of things they like. So I was like, okay. And, he definitely is all about making her comfortable. So whenever she got uncomfortable with something, he came up with their safe word, which is tres leches. I love the fact that was a safe word. I thought it was very cute. And there was a funny moment where he talked about being the king of swag and all stuff. And it's like, okay. And I do like Clint. Clint does make me laugh. And again, I feel like Clint is more into this than Gina is. But I don't see this going anywhere fast. It's just they're pretty much wasting time, wasting all of our time. They're not going to say yes on decision day because as great of friends as they're becoming, that is not enough to sustain a marriage. Yes, you do have to be really good friends with your spouse. It does help to like your spouse as a person. It helps to respect your spouse and respect the things that they value and, the things that they like. That is fine, and that's all well and good. That's all very important. But you are not kissing. You are not holding hands. You're not having sex. You are barely hugging. All of that stuff is equally as important in a relationship, and especially a marriage, as all that other stuff. And you guys are nowhere near close to doing any of that other stuff. So it's like, why are you here? I don't get it. And then we're going to end with Eris and Jasmine. They are still going nowhere fast. He is trying to get to know her. I will give him credit for that. That is all that's happening, that he is still trying to get to know her. They are doing anything to build any kind of intimacy. Intimacy, yes, great conversation. That is important. Cool. You guys are talking more. That's great. But like she said before, he is barely kissing me. We're not really hugging, not holding hands. Nothing is, you guys aren't touching each other. So again, you have this portion here of good conversation, but I'm not seeing anything else. And there was one thing that Eris said, that there have been times when Jasmine has called him on his stuff and Eris likes it, aka, ooh, yeah, it was a little thrill, got me turned on. And I realized, well, at least this is my assumption, I think he likes when she tells him off, which isn't often, because that is the moment where he feels like she's her most authentic self. Not saying she has to yell at him all the time or anything like that, but I think part of her, and she said this before, part of her is a little bit of a people pleaser, not wanting to rock the boat, not, things are okay now. Let me not say anything to make me upset or make him upset. Let me just kind of keep things in neutral, territory, basically. And when she has those moments where it's too much for her, those moments where he says something that's like, I can't let that go. He likes that because, again, he gets to kind of see a little crack in the facade and see her true self, see her true emotions coming out. So I thought that was key. I don't know if she's going to pay attention to that and take that comment for what it means, but I really hope she thinks about it like, okay, I need to stop hiding my true feelings because I'm afraid to do whatever. Our marriage, the way it stands now, it could get worse, but me saying a comment here or there is not going to make it worse because we're not getting where we need to be, basically. So literally nothing is happening with them. They had a little meal. They cooked together. Oh, this was cute. This is fun. There's still nothing physical happening. And I know they see the experts. I think they see the experts again next week. But again, no, they're going to see Devon Franklin. He comes back next week. Again, these experts, I don't like the fact that they're holding these experts until the end. Like I said, we're in episode 14. This series can go up to maybe 16, 17 episodes. So we're towards the tail end of this season. And we're just seeing someone who talks about intimacy and sex. Like, why are we just now seeing her? Again, from the beginning, when you have the matchmaking special with Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal, You always had a third person there who focused on intimacy and sexuality, because when they're doing the interview process, they're able to ask these couples or these potential couples specific questions about what they're looking for. What are some of the things you struggle with when it comes to intimacy? How did you learn about intimacy in the first place? How would you define intimacy? All of those questions need to be asked in the very, very beginning. So that way, when you do match them up with this couple, that intimacy expert can talk to them about, okay, look, pay attention to this. Remember, you told me that you wanted this, so keep that in mind when you meet your spouse. I'll see you in the next couple weeks or whatever. And that person could have checked in a lot sooner than now. I feel like it's such a disservice, and it's not, I don't say it's not fair to the couples for sure, but I think that it's not a good use of Dr. Pia's time. I think you should go ahead and make her a permanent expert. Even if you don't want to have her, that's fine. You still need a third permanent expert at the very, very beginning of this process. Because I love Dr. Pepper, love Pastor Cal. The two of them cannot be the only ones making these decisions. And Devon Franklin, even when he was there last season before last, I like the things he had to say. But again, having him show up one episode, that is not enough. Because he does have good advice. And I know that they keep them abreast of what's happening with the couples, but no, they need to have an intimate relationship with these couples. And seasons past, like the first few seasons or whatever, when the couples were going through their stuff, they had the liberty to call Pastor Cal, to call Dr. Pepper. They would FaceTime and be like, look, I'm going through this thing and I just need somebody to talk to. You know, now everybody is going to everybody else, which is okay. But I loved and I don't know if they don't have the option of doing that anymore, or if it's frowned upon or what, but I loved when the couples did that, because to me it showed that you really wanted to make this work, that you were hitting up the experts before they come to your house to say, hey, I'm having this issue with my spouse. How do I deal with it? What do I do if my spouse doesn't do this? I love that they're taking full advantage of the fact that you have these experts, because I imagine that once the show is over, unless you guys choose to stay together, you don't really see the experts like that anymore. Because why? They moved on to the next city to deal with a new cast. So why not take advantage of the fact that you have all these experts right there at your fingertips, who have degrees, who have doctorates, who are able to help you with all of this stuff right then and there at the very beginning stages of your marriage. I don't get it. I don't understand. I think they really need to redo the format when it comes to the experts. Not replace the experts, but they need to redo the format. And one thing I will say again about Eris and Jasmine, I did like that he talked to her sister. So I love that he is talking to all these people who know Jasmine best to really figure out how to get to know her better. I appreciate that. But, well, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate he's not going to his people. I appreciate a lot that he's not going to his raggedy cousin asking her for advice. And we haven't even seen her in a few episodes, which I really appreciate. So I love that he's talking to her people. But I feel like some of these questions he needs to be asking her. And her guards are up, and I understand is very valid. But I need to see more from him, because yes, she wants that conversation, but even small things, touch goes a long, long way. And it doesn't have to be sexual touch. She could be in the kitchen cooking something, come home, come behind her, put your arms around her waist and kiss her neck. Doesn't have to lead to anything, but that's at least you initiating touch, and that will go a long, long way for Jasmine, because she'll just have it in her head that, okay, he is going out of his way to touch me. He did not have to. He kissed my neck. He did not have to do that. Okay, this is a start. And again, doesn't have to lead to sex that day, the next day, or even the next month. But at least if that is starting the habit of me touching you. If every day I come home from work, I give you a hug, or I kiss your forehead, or I kiss you on the lips before we go to bed. Just starting a habit and maintaining that habit can go a long way. And it makes it easier for other physically intimate things to take place. I need Eris to kind of get on the ball with that. I need Jasmine to also be open to it, but I think you don't know if she's open to it unless you try. Right now, you don't just talking to her what she wants, but it's like, bro, you got 2 weeks and you ain't done nothing else, and you already said we're not gonna have sex before decision day. Fine, but that doesn't mean that you will not touch her until decision day. Give my girl something. It's frustrating. They're very frustrating to watch, not because they necessarily did anything wrong, but I don't know. Jasmine looks like she's the victim, and the Eris looks like this, pretty much like an a-hole. I don't think he's an a-hole. I really don't. But I think he's going about this the wrong way. I think he's expecting too much. And I don't think he is listening to all of the things that Jasmine is asking for that she needs. But I don't think she's also being very demanding of the things that she needs either. So that is my synopsis of Married at First Sight. Season 16, episode 14. Make sure you comment below what you guys think of the episode 1, what you think about Dr. Pia as an expert, what you guys think about the fate of Gina and Clint and Jasmine and Eris. What you guys think about Nicole having her breakthrough. What you guys think about Shaquille and Kirsten. Like, who annoyed you? Between Shaquille and Kirsten specifically, who annoyed you the most this week with the things they had to say? Like, talk to me. Tell me what you think. And make sure you like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. Again, sorry for the late video, but again, as you can see, I'm not home. Next week, we'll be back to it. Coming on Thursdays, giving you the review and recap. I'm not sure how many more episodes there are of Married at First Sight. I know they normally have the full episode next week. Normally for the finale, they have like another like random episode of, ooh, a wrap up, or ooh, let's talk about this, ooh, let's talk about that. So who knows? I think there'll be a minimum of 2 more episodes, but it may be more than that. And I think next season is in Denver, maybe. I'm pretty sure they already started filming wherever it is. And you know I'll be here for that for season 17. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you later. Peace.